We are joined here by Ace, Felix, and Mike. How are we doing today? Okay, so we're here, and let's just quickly get rid of the news. Quickly get rid of the breaking news. Tropical storm Himitsu has made landfall in China after initially developing as a tropical storm and pretty much made landfall. It made landfall a couple, I think 50 miles from Hong Kong. So yeah, that's pretty much the breaking news for today. And let's just get on with the tracks. You can see here pretty much where the center circulation is at. It's right over land. Center circulation is located right over here. Whoa, it's located over here, and it's forecasted to pretty much go inland China. So Felix, this was pretty much unexpected.
Yes.
What happened? What caused this storm to form?
I do not know, because I did not expect this and I did not track this, so I have no clue.
Yeah, so
this is my valuable contribution.
I didn't expect that either. Just for you to show you guys where some of those bands of thunderstorms are coming in. There's a big line of thunderstorms that are moving straight in towards Hong Kong, into that generalized area. And in general, it's going to be turning around. And pretty much you can see that inflow band coming into the storm from western China, and then the outflow going into eastern China. Pretty much convection still ongoing, not as organized as it was, but that's your headlines. By the way, for those that are looking at our stat or at our current storms, it is 40 miles per hour with a sustained pressure of 99 millibars, moving towards the north at 3 miles per hour. Alright, so that's not what we were here for. We were here for the countdown to hurricane season. And let's just talk about current events. So, current events. So, as you guys may have known, here in the United States, we've seen a pretty extremely active May for severe weather season.
Correct.
For severe weather season, which was quite the unexpected. We saw, I think we saw every single day, except for 2 days, being an enhanced or above. So it's pretty remarkable. News: Houston, for the first time in 35 years, has had more storm-related fatalities. Has seen 18 fatalities. The last year to have done this was, I believe, 1982, with over 22 fatalities. After that, it's remained at a standstill with 3 to 4 on average. Additionally, the National Hurricane Center, which is going to lead us into our next topic, the National Hurricane Center has released their outlooks. They're calling, I believe, 18 to 25 named storms, 7 to 13 or 11 hurricanes, and 4 to 7 majors. So pretty much, if you haven't watched the DisasterCentral video that our contributor here, Felix, made, please go watch it. He goes into depth on pretty much what the conditions are looking like, why they're predicting hyperactive activity, and our predictions forecast. We're going to go more in depth into that in about an hour and 45 minutes.
Yes.
There's not much other news, I believe. It's been a relatively quiet year for pretty much anything in general.
Also, I can quickly add that I looked into it, and the tropical storm in China looks to be just your typical monsoon-related tropical storm, as they tend to happen at this time of the year. Just a lot of convection sort of coalescing, and then I suppose shear was suitable for a tropical storm and it's just formed. It's just the kind of thing that you can get at this time of the year. Get these like weaker cyclones, usually weaker, form out of the monsoon, and then they make landfall.
Yeah. So, I mean, so what we do, because it's like we've done this 3 years in a row, or at least I have done this for 3 years. We introduced the team 2 years ago. No, 1 year ago. So this is their second stream. This is my third stream doing this. We did this 2 years ago. We did this last year as well. Pretty much what we do is just have a chill stream. We have a chill stream. We do a quick countdown. We don't think we plan on having anything. We don't plan on doing anything much. We might play a game later on, but not sure. We're not necessarily sure on that. But again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns regarding the hurricane season, please do not be afraid to ask. This hurricane season is predicted to be hyperactive, and if, again, as Felix said in the video, if any season has the potentiality to be hyperactive and quite productive, it's this season. This season has all the ingredients going for it.
Yep, and just this is kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but do want to remind everyone that more active seasons also tend to have sort of more landfalls proportionally, so that's just something to keep in mind. Because usually, like, out over the open ocean, you usually get, like, it's easier for hurricanes to form there than, like, for West Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico. So in the more active years, where the conditions are, broadly speaking, more favorable, those areas then also get hit more. So, yeah.
But yeah. Tropical tip is just go over the models really quick for the next few days on the Western Pacific, Eastern Pacific, Northern Indian, and the Atlantic. Just start off with the Atlantic. Again, we have the music behind because we don't necessarily plan on doing much with this stream other than just discussing and just having a chill time. So just bring up the models for the North Atlantic. They look like this. The 18Z is coming out right now, so we'll just look at that for now. And as you can see, not much in retrospect. There has been ensemble models that originally did have something forming just off the coast of Panama, Nicaragua, and Honduras, but that on the main has not shown in the main model. Now we go back to
in fact, I wanna interject that the ensembles have also, at least for the moment, backed down off of this, so there's not really any strong signal at the moment. It's just typical, like, early preseason stuff. Just the model sort of. Usually it's a GFS, because doing GFS things, sort of teasing, wanting to show something, nothing really happens. And then something can come out of left field, as you saw on the Westpac. So that's how I'm trying to see. So no. There's still a good climatological signal for in about 2 weeks from now, second week of June, sort of second, third of June, something like that. That's just a period to keep an eye on, because it could be our first good opportunity, because you have a Calvin wave, which is associated with rising air, or sort of and other factors that are going to contribute to rising air across the Caribbean. But again, that's in the future. We have to wait and see what happens with that. But
yeah, and just looking at the 12Z, you can pretty much see the GFS picked up something last minute. This probably won't happen because it's so far out, but just another round. It's in the second week, I believe, second or third week of June. There again, as you said, there is reason to suspect that the second and third week of June could be a time for something to produce here. And they do show it. It could be a subtropical system, just based off of its characteristics on the model. But let's just switch to the Eastern Pacific. The Eastern Pacific, by the way, has a 10-10 chance for development in the next 2 and 7 days. More likely than not, that's not going to form. At least we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Further out, there in that region too, some ensembles scatter in around that same time frame, sort of looking at the like June 10th or June 8th to like June 16th time frame. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. Would not be unreasonable for something to happen there, but also no reason to suspect anything concrete as of this time. So
yeah, and that's what we mean. There's something that tries to form off near Oaxaca and Chiapas in Mexico, but again, that's farther out. For the next 186 hours, nothing much. There are some signs that something could form, but again, it's probably not going to form. It's just too much. I believe the main problem is shear. And just lack of production as well.
Yeah, it's just too early in the season. It's just not normal. Not any. Oh yeah, it's too much shear. The East Pacific is being sheared a lot right now. You're absolutely right. Just a lot of shear there.
And if we look at, there's not much track.
I want to say though, Atlantic looking good shear-wise in the 70% mid-range that period that I highlighted earlier. So that's something to keep an eye on. That basin looking good. So yeah, which is again to be expected. We are transitioning towards La Nina now, so it would be exactly what you would expect. That the East Pac is sort of a bit slower to get off of the starting blocks than the Atlantic, relatively speaking. Though it may still produce first because there's a reason why hurricane season there starts 15 days earlier.
Yeah, and finally switching up to the Western Pacific again. The Western Pacific has been the most active out of all the basins, with only 2 named storms to its name, including one Typhoon Ewiniar, that made landfall over the Philippines, I believe, one of the islands in the Philippines, or got near to one of the small islands near Luzon.
It passed right through some of the smaller islands. I think it made 7 different landfalls actually on all of these small islands that are in there, but not heard anything too destructive coming out of that.
So the remnants of Rawiniar is going to be moving on. Looking at the DFS model, it shows activity forming, but this is more related to the monsoon season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's a system that forms in the mid-range to late-range models, and it hits, it affects portions of Okinawa. Not necessarily sure. I mean, it could happen. Just we need to wait. It's just too far out. There's additionally another run or another system that shows another storm hitting China. But again, this is just too far out to say anything for sure. But it looks like it's going to be a very active period. If the DFS verifies, it's going to be a very active period in June for the Western Pacific.
Yeah. Although, again, Westpac is, for anyone following tropical weather, probably going to be aware, basically the entire second half of last year into this year had a long period of reduced activity. It was kind of weird because it was El Nino, so it was supposed to be active, but kind of wasn't. There are a whole bunch of reasons behind that are kind of complicated. Main reason being that Julian oscillations are basically rising and falling air, broadly speaking, and sort of enhanced convection associated with positive phase that sort of died. And because that mainly drives tropical cyclones in that basin, even though there was an El Nino, it just could not do anything. and that is set to continue this year because it's a La Nina year, and the Westpac tends to be, as I'm pretty sure there is one slide, one image in my video, which is like the tropical storm prediction graphic, with like the significance, and so there's like the bar diagrams, and it shows the Atlantic and the Westpac, and that shows like significantly less tropical storms than usual. I think it's like 60% or something, the normal activity, so not good. Yeah.
And here's the GFS model for the North Indian, pretty much the entire Indian Ocean. Again, not much short-term and nor mid-range. Maybe something forming off near the Bay of Bengal. But it's going to be majority is going to be from the starting monsoon seasons.
Yep.
The monsoon seasons will be the main culprit for any storms that develop in the North Indian or in the Western Pacific. So that's what the models have to say. That's what the GFS has to say. We can look at the ECMWRF. Click if so, please do that right now. Pretty much they have. So quite interesting. The European model has something forming in the Southern Pacific, in the Southern Hemisphere, but it just doesn't have it continue. It just dissipates by itself. And nothing much forming apart from that. Maybe some type of extratropical cyclone near South India into Sri Lanka. But apart from that, nothing much. And again, yes, something forming maybe near the western coast of India. But again, the ECMWF European model, they have a non-convective bias. So the fact that they're signaling this could possibly, it just depends on how the GFS will show.
Yeah.
Again, any questions, comments, concerns, send them in the chat. And let's just look at the and more specific to the ECMWF. They actually do have a tropical system forming really quick in the next, I think, 51 hours. Something forming. And again, they won't show convection bias, but yeah, it could have something forming there.
Yeah, it's another, I'm looking at it right now, it's another one of those. Actually looks more extratropical to me, but it's like another of those things embedded in the monsoon that then could, earlier, yeah, could be subtropical there later on, I don't know. This does not look like much. Yeah. Yeah, again, June, usually not the most active time for tropical storms.
Eastern Pacific for from the European model, again, pretty quiet. Yeah, pretty quiet. A lot more range showing in the forecast for Central America, but again, not much showing in terms of tropical cyclone convection. Finally, in the northern Atlantic, again, as expected, nothing much forming. Actually, maybe something breaking off of New York, but that looks more extratropical or subtropical to me. Yeah, it looks pretty much subtropical. Yeah, connected by the front is subtropical. Yeah.
If that.
It could be very well extratropical. There is something that formed just near north of Hispaniola that the Euro just doesn't pick up until it moves all the way north. Again, June is not the time for storms to form. Activity normally picks up in July, August, September, and October.
Yep. I just want to quickly intersect to say that there is, is it a confirmed trend? I don't know, but it's a destructive storm warning for 3-inch hail, so in Texas. It's like near Brady, and what is the nearest major city? I honestly don't know. Oh, it's near San Angelo, I believe. Is it? No. Anyway, it exists. I think,
That's breaking news.
It's just so the Texas hail vaganza, is that a word? I don't know. Continues.
Yeah, Texas has been pummeled by hail. By the way, South Texas. Texas has been hammered the last few days with severe thunderstorms. And you can see that now if we go to the Go 16. Yeah, so these little storms, and let me just draw them for you. These little storms that popped out of here, they were originally in Texas, and they hail and some damaging wind gusts. If you are in Texas, more rain is expected, so that's going to increase the flooding threat to even more, which is not necessarily a good thing. More rain is in the works. There are more. Why is this moving? More. All of this is rain. All of that is rain, and it's continuing to happen. And it's all associated with a low pressure.
I wanna quickly say that nothing has really happened yet. I hope it stays that way, but there is some very heavy rainfall in Germany, which some have likened to 2021, which some may be aware had like these really terrible floods that were like the worst in like I don't know how many years, probably like 100 years. I personally don't think it's going to be nearly as bad, but we will see. And hopefully, I will have to make a video over the weekend explaining that parts of Germany drowned, but we will see how much water the rivers can hold, basically. So that would be quite unfortunate.
So yeah, in North America,
yeah, I would have to make a video on that.
An area of low pressure, that's pretty much where that circle spins.
So far, though, nothing has happened.
Where that inflow bends at, pretty much a area of low pressure. I'm drawing a little low pressure front because I'm not necessarily exactly a drawer.
They're making some very advanced frontal analysis here.
And this is all going to start traversing towards the southeast, and then it'll eventually move off to an extratropical cyclone. Not cyclone, but extratropical storm. It'll move on to the Atlantic Ocean. Now, eventually, there could be severe weather threats soon.
And apparently, Mike is in a Mike is being electrocuted right now.
There could be, and again, you can see here now on the newest frame, storms convecting now in central Texas, and more storms beginning to convect now into New Mexico and Colorado, right behind it. And this is gonna all be part of that front that starts again into Texas tomorrow morning, and it's gonna bring even more rainfall to the already wet and possibly some areas that are flooding.
Those appears to have. One of the weather websites I'm using just refused to load. That's lovely.
Yeah, so you can see these two, this big cell over here near San Angelo.
Is everything broken right now? Okay.
This is near San Angelo, and so just a couple miles south or north of Austin. This is the main area to watch because it's been traversingly convecting. This is heading straight towards there's also more convection popping up. Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? Wait, can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay. Hi.
My mic keeps disconnecting. Didn't notice that. sorry chat. Sorry guys. There's gonna be more. It's gonna be problems like this popping up soon because I'm screen sharing as well on Discord. Anyways, so yeah, there's some areas of convection just in Texas. And we can move this closer while. Yeah, here it is. It's actually part of a more centralized area. And let me just draw this into red so you can see what I'm talking about. This big area, this in central Texas, is just a couple miles, just like 10, 20, 30 miles from Austin, and around 50 miles from San Antonio. This is all going to be moving towards the east. This is going to be our next area of rain if you are in Texas. This is going to start, you can tell this pretty much forming a line. This is going to eventually form into a low pressure system, and that front is going to be moving off into Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. The main threats with this, again, is going to be rainfall, and if they're severe in nature, it's going to be wind.
Yeah.
There's not much of a tornado threat present here.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so there's more convection now in Mexico as well. For all the Mexican viewers, like, sort of speak Spanish. Hay tormentas que están formando acá norte donde está Michoacán y Tamaulipas. Unos que se están formando en Nuevo León. Como ven sur. Prácticamente puede ver toda la tormenta que está formando por los montes de México. Entonces hay que tomar precaución si estás en México. And let's see, additional, let's look at Europe, because Felix is right. There is heavy rain going on right now in I believe now in Europe as well. So let's see.
Yes, in Germany. Oh my god. Do people? I have an half off topic question. Do people? I have to ask Mike this when he comes back. Does he find anything on Instagram in terms of videos? Like, I'm currently trying to look on Instagram for some content related to the flooding situation in Germany. I just can't find anything. Like, Instagram search is so awful to find anything you're really looking for. Like, it's all like algorithm driven results, and like, I don't know. It's really.
Okay,
So I'm just ranting here because I hate it.
So this is the situation in Europe, and it's a pretty awkward view to get because I'm not filling up another software that will kill my computer again while I'm live. So you're gonna have to just deal with this. So there's a very big area of low pressure. And I think it's located in Italy and into southern Germany. And pretty much the main threat is because of all these thunderstorms that are moving into the inflow band. And pretty much all of this, all of these are still convecting, by the way. I just need to say this. These are all still convecting. Like, these are convecting thunderstorms. A lot of this is massive rainfall. A lot of them are thunderstorms that are producing a lot of rain. Now,
Actually, the main rain is not actually coming from thunderstorms. Wait. Can you share me sharing my screen so that I can show the freaking website? Wait, hold on. I just click out.
doesn't die.
Okay.
Screen share?
So, wait, hold on. Wait, there it is. So, this is okay. So, this is sort of the. Are you showing my screen now?
About to. It's loading. There we go.
Okay, so this is about the situation we have right now in Germany. Sort of, this is. Let me actually just do a loop here. And while this is going on, I can explain that all of this, that's the wrong one, this is for something else. Okay, so it's basically this entire area of rain here. There isn't actually a lot going on in terms of thunderstorms. We had some thunderstorms up here earlier, And further south, there may be thunderstorms ongoing. Actually, not sure about that. You can see there's some thunderstorms up here, and those actually become more of an issue tomorrow when we have more of a band of thunderstorms going across this area. I know I'm the drawing king, but right now it's mainly this like stratiform rain that's coming down all over southern Germany, and it just does not stop. Like you can see, this area down here in particular just gets pummeled by just continuous rainfall. The rainfall rate isn't actually that large. It's just that it has rained there continuously for like the last 24 hours plus, and that's sort of the main problem there. And in terms of the rainfall, this is going to be in millimeters, so non-European viewers have to bear with me while I calculate the conversions. But you can see here, I mean, I guess you can see by the scale on the bottom that if we're going to the upper end of this scale, it probably isn't good. So this is just in the last 24 hours, having this broad area here where it has like 50...
Is there any chat currently going on in the live stream?
50, I don't know.
Is there any chat in the live stream?
No, not right now.
So
we're talking current weather.
So this would be about this area that I circled here is having about 2 inches in the last 24 hours, and there are these small areas in here that are having about up to like 130 liters.
Like 4 to 5
scales in millimeters, same thing. Yeah, which is quite bad. And on top of that, I can also show that this is it. I can also show that there is more rain expected, which is sort of the problem. This is our own German weather models. I'm just going to show this one because it probably knows. And as you can see, there's a lot of rain coming in. Luckily, not as much in this area down here, which has had the strongest rainfall so far. But if we look at another model, there is another sort of 1 to 2 inches maybe coming into that area. So, and the large problem, yeah, this is for the next 24 hours. The large problem is you have all of this area here, and getting large amounts of rain. The like localized totals, especially for people living in sort of tropical, subtropical areas, may not seem like a lot. But it's just the scale of this rainfall, like the entire southern portion of Germany, the entire southern quarter is getting like heavy rainfall. And what this does not show is this rainfall is also extending down south across the Alps, right? It's going all the way into Switzerland, all the way down south out of this area here. And there has been a lot of rainfall down here in this area too this last several days. So that is the issue here. It's not flash flooding. The rainfall rate is way too low for that. It's river flooding, because all of this area that gets the rainfall is a catchment area for the Rhine and its tributaries and other rivers that just like, if these overall totals don't seem like a lot to you, you have to understand that all of this water has to go somewhere. This entire area is the drainage basin for some of Germany's longer rivers and their tributaries. So that is river flooding is going to be the issue. I know a lot of rivers have already crossed like warning stages. So yeah, just something to keep an eye on. Something that I will keep an eye on certainly, and hope to not have to make a video. And I have to say, in 2021 when we had the bad floods, that was also river flooding. It was not flash flooding. It was just that there was a lot of rain over a large area, and the rivers just couldn't hold the water anymore. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, right now nothing's much happening. Else I would be reporting on like fatalities or damage. Or there's one district that has a catastrophe, but it's sort of it can go south really quickly. All of a sudden, like sort of like in severe weather when you flip a switch and then the river just can't cope anymore. So yeah.
So yeah, if like when Felix makes a video, he will be upload. I think it'll be in German or in English.
Probably.
It'll probably be in German.
I mean, honestly, the way I'm looking at it, I'll only make a video if it's like a major disaster. If there are like dozens of people dead or something, it'll probably be in English then.
But like if
it's like 2021, No, there's not gonna be a forecast video. I'm not gonna have time for that. It's gonna be like mainly gonna be a post-mortem if, God forbid, something terrible happens. Because forecast video will already be too late.
He was so happy making a video. He doesn't care about his country.
Well, I was too busy making David's hurricane and with other stuff.
Okay, so we have that going. So yeah, pretty much a lot of events ongoing right now in terms of weather. Now,
Just unfortunately not a lot of tropical stuff going on. That will be more on topic.
Geosat. Clock is a little bit broken, FYI.
I'll stop streaming my stream then so that I can. Wait, Mike, I have a question. Do you actually find anything for your videos on Instagram these days? Because I'm currently searching for stuff on the flooding in Germany, and I just like it's all personalized algorithm BS, and I just like there's nothing useful here.
Usually, if I don't find enough videos enough clips for a video, right? If I don't find enough, I'll go on Instagram. But I usually don't, because usually just going through Twitter and Facebook, I'll find enough videos. But if I don't find enough, then I'll go on Instagram too. Yeah.
Instagram used to be a lot more useful for this when they still had an option to sort by most recent, which for some reason they got rid of. Like, God knows how long ago. God, I hate social media these days. Anyway.
We have an hour and 15 minutes until the hurricane season begins. Not in the U.S. at least, but
are you going by UTC?
We're going by
yes. I think that's what the NHC goes by too.
Yeah.
I think that So if we did it by U.S. local time, then we would be lying because the hurricane season does start at 12 a.m. UTC. So, because fun fact, it's not actually the NHC, National Hurricane Center, that decides when the hurricane season begins. It's actually the World Meteorological Organization. And in fact, the NHC, I believe, would like hurricane season to start on May 15th in the Atlantic, just as it does in the Eastern Pacific. But the WMO, World Meteorological Organization, said no. So that's why they have started the tropical weather outlooks.
Okay, so we're getting
earlier.
So yeah, this is DisasterCentral Live. We've been live for a good 40 minutes. We were a little bit late with the last minute things. So let's see what's next on the agenda. Alright, so interacting with chat. So we're gonna have a recap. Let's just have a recap of the previous hurricane season because I think it's important I personally believe it's important to have a recap of these hurricane seasons because personally there has been so much incredible activity that's happened, not just in the North Atlantic, but overall in the last 15 years. We've had so much activity, and increasing activity. It's just so weird, and it's such a weird thing. By the way, there's a forecast for Sunday, European severe weather. It is, I believe, a 2 out of 3. So basically, for the Americans who don't know what the SFX forecast is, think of it like the European SPC, except they have 3 levels. A level 3 is like a high risk, a level 2 is like an enhanced or moderate risk, and a 1 is like a slight margin. Yeah. So right now,
so basically they're they're stuck on SPC product from 2005 or something. I believe they're looking to introduce a 4th level, if I remember correctly. So
But that's right now we're going. They're just using our 3.
Wait, 4th level for what?
4th risk level,
like what? Towards the lower end or the higher end?
I don't know. Fujik just said they're looking to add a fourth warning level. I don't know anything more.
So right now, SFX for Saturday, which is tomorrow, or really today, in some parts of Europe, they're looking at at maximum level 2 for portions of Eastern and Western Germany and Eastern Germany and Western Poland. Level 2 for southwestern Ukraine, northern Romania, northeastern. Oh my God, what's that country next to Romania? Okay, so there's a level 2 as well for Czech Republic as well. But what's the other one?
What? Which one?
It's in between the Slovakia and Romania.
Hungary?
Hungary, there you go. Sorry. I was lost. Yeah, Hungary. And that for Hungary, it's just northeastern Hungary for the SFX level 2. And finally, there is a what? Why did they make a forecast there? There's a level 2 for portions of Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Yeah, Azerbaijan and Armenia are debatedly part of Europe. Again, this is not the place for in-depth geopolitical and geographical discussions, but some people consider part of Europe. And I don't know why they cover North Africa. I honestly have no clue.
I could have just said Germany to more organized. I could have just said Germany because the and Caucasus again. I always make things.
Could happen.
Oh, I just want to point something out. Look in Canada, beautiful extratropical cyclone, massive extratropical cyclone. Ooh, that like yeah.
What part of Canada?
Northern Canada. I think this is like north central Canada.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, massive.
Oh, hello there.
Oh,
hello.
I would like to say that this hurricane season is going to be a bust.
Why?
We haven't released a hurricane season. We haven't talked about the hurricane season yet. I think we're soon going.
Well, damn! I didn't even realize that tropical depression Maluki made landfall in China.
It was tropical storm for a while. They just downgraded it.
I also not realized until yesterday.
They just downgraded to tropical depression.
Damn! It didn't even reach tropical storm.
It did.
Can you even name it tropical depression?
It did reach tropical storm on the JMA.
Okay, then Zoom Earth is not showing that then.
Yeah, because Zoom Earth is showing the track from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, which, yeah.
So yeah,
did not. Why do I always say in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii? That's weird.
Damn.
Okay, off topic.
I'm fine.
Okay, so let's just go over the Atlantic hurricane seasons for the last 10 years because it's remarkable, in my opinion, to see how active these last few years have been. So this is the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. You'll recall it. Rarely do you see hurricane seasons with only 3 landfalls in the U.S. nowadays, but this hurricane season had 3 U.S. landfalls, 1 in Texas, 1 in North Carolina, and another one in Florida, which was, I think, Idalia, Category 4.
Yeah. Which you can see last year. You can see.
Hurricane Lee was a Category 5 that peaked over the.
Yes.
Over the Bermuda Triangle, over the Northern Atlantic. Peaked at 165 miles per hour, sustained pressure of 926 millibars, I believe.
And I want to point out that you can see last year the storm tracks were mostly over the open ocean. You had only really had Italia, and Italia was sort of like homegrown development, as we call it. I want to say that this year, at least from what it has been looking like, it does not appear to be. Sorry, I completely lost track of what I was going to say. It does not look like it's going to be like that this year. All indications point to the storm track being a bit further south into the Caribbean. Again, climatologically, most of those storms should still recurve, which is what they do. As I said earlier, but this year we'll probably see some more in the Caribbean, which we'll get into later on. I'm not going to go into a bit more detail on that.
Yeah, in 2023, Atlantic hurricane season was relatively quiet in terms of overall impacts. We only saw 18 fatalities and around $4 billion in damages. 2022 was quite active. I remember that one for sure. It was quite active in terms of landfalling storms, but more so it's well known for obviously Hurricane Ian, Category 5, pressure 137 millibars. Fiona was the second strongest, 140 miles per hour. That went over the sea, but had the lowest pressure, 931 millibars. Overall, this season was pretty active in terms of number and name storms, but those two major hurricanes that did form were pretty intense. It is the third costliest tropical cyclone on record. We saw 304 fatalities. I think over 100 and something of them were from Ian. Ian was a cataclysmic storm. I think it was super close to being a Category 5 at landfall, but it entered a last-minute early high wall replacement cycle, or also known as EWRC. 161 fatalities. There's still 13 people missing. It's 5 of those fatalities were in Cuba.
I think it can be pretty much said with certainty that those people who are still missing are dead, because I just don't think they're gonna be found alive. You never know. Maybe they're out somewhere in the Everglades of Florida, living off of the land. No, you can't do that. If you get lost in the Everglades, you're also going to be dead after 2 years. So, as you can say, well, certainly they're not alive anymore. It's just that they have not yet been missing for long enough so that they can be declared dead in absentia. So, kind of a
we've also
formality to call them missing.
2021 was pretty remarkable in the fact that we had for example, we had a long track Hurricane Sam that pretty much, I think, produced over 100 accumulated cyclone energy. And then we had Hurricane Ida as well. Hurricane Ida was Ida was responsible for being the 4th costliest tropical cyclone season on record. Ida killed. There was 194 fatalities. Ida killed, I think, 70 or 80.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you're noticing a trend here, but 2022 had Ian, which was one of the costliest tropical cyclones on record. 2021 had Ida, which was also one of the, I believe, top 10 costliest on record or something, I believe it was, and contributed to one of the costliest seasons on record. So, again, not looking good for this season. Not only the amount of storms going up, but also storms tend to become more catastrophic. So, and also there's a factor in there that there is just more to destroy. Although I would say that holds more true for the typhoon season. Those have also become a lot more costly, and there you can say, but China's also become more developed, and there's just more assets there to destroy. You can't really say that for the U.S., can you? I don't really think the U.S. now has is more developed than it was 30 years ago in a significant way.
We also had 2020, which I think we all remember what 2020 was. 2020 will be memorable for a variety of reasons, but the strongest storm, Hurricane Iota, gets pattern with an eye. Peaked at winds of 155 miles per hour, had a sustained pressure of 917 millibars. I'm not gonna get into that whole argument, but there was a notable argument for it being Category 5 as well as ETA. But there were 31 named storms with a record high. There was 31 depressions. There was 30 named storms, 14 hurricanes, and 7 major hurricanes, tied with 2005 as well. There's been over, it's not even confirmed, there's been well over 470 fatalities and well over $55 billion in damage, and that number is probably going to rise. That number would probably have risen if it wasn't for Hurricane Ida, because Louisiana saw 4 hurricane impacts. Let's get this. This is the 7th costliest storm cyclone on record. 7th costliest cyclone season on record. So this season started with Tropical Storm Arthur, which pretty much contributed to nothing. It did produce some type of damage. There was some $112,000 in damages from this storm. Tropical storm watches were issued, but they ultimately Arthur never made landfall. There was no fatalities with that one. Obviously, we had Bertha, which pretty much did nothing as well.
Want to note that, of course, as you can see, in that year we already were 2 storms in by right now, so query how much that factors in to the overall sort of hurricane activity number of storms. Well, I will say that when we talk about stuff like accumulated cyclone energy or something, this is not going to be significant. It's just maybe this year's a later start will drive like total storm number down or something. But like these early season storms you saw right there, they don't do anything really. They're just like, maybe they're rainmakers, yes, but at least in terms of wind, they have nothing, and they also not contribute any ace to it. So that is, but just something to keep an eye on as we enter into June. Just don't think we're gonna see like 30 names. That's the reason why I don't think we're gonna see much more than 24 names. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah.
Again, we had a pretty early. We had before, like we had the most notable hurricanes before all of this activity began was Hannah, Category 1, and Isaias, Category 1. Isaias is pretty forgotten, but it produced a tornado outbreak. Carolina,
I remember.
Produced, I think 2 EF3s. So it's pretty forgotten because it's been overshadowed by so many storms. So just to show you how incredible this season was. Cristobal formed on June 2nd. The earliest prior, Colin formed on June 5th. Edward formed on July 6th. Emily formed on July 11th. Faye, July 9th. Franklin, July 21st.
Yeah.
Gonzalo, the 22nd. Gertz, the 24th. Hannah, the 24th. Harvey, August 3rd. This season is nowhere. 2005 was costly. 2020 was so record-breaking.
And of course, I want to say that the 2020 season was the reason why we now have the dreaded auxiliary naming list, because we went pretty deep into the Greek alphabet of that year, all the way to iota, which I believe is a Greek letter, unlike alpha, beta, and gamma, most people don't even know exists. Like, I had certainly never heard of the Greek letter iota before 2020, so that one was, yeah.
Subtropical storm Alpha also broke the record because it's the only subtropical storm or tropical cyclone to ever make landfall in Portugal. And there was 1 fatality from that. So like, this season was all over the place in terms of records. and surprisingly, no Category 5. And again, I just want to point this out. The CSU had 16 named storms. TSR had 16 named storms. The UA had 19 named storms. The Weather Channel had 18 named storms, or the Weather Company. And NOAA had 13 to 19 named storms. The fact that this season they're already calling more storms than they did for 2020, it's worrying. 2019 was a relatively it was an above average hurricane season, but it was relatively calm, except for Hurricane Dorian. Dorian
Yeah,
will go
Hurricane
down
Dorian.
in-
Oh my god, I
Dorian
love
will go down in
Dorian.
history as one of the craziest Category 5s in North Atlantic history. It was one of the most well organized tropical cyclones that have formed in North Atlantic as well. Dorian was just, its structure was just something else. You won't ever see a structure like Dorian for quite a while. Dorian, as well as having such a good structure, pretty much pulled a Hurricane Harvey and stalled over the Bahamas for I believe now, like, I think it was 4 days. Dorian only, at least from what we know, only killed 84. There's reports and there's estimations that the death toll is likely in the 800 to 1,700 ratio. Officially, the government has it 84 total and 245 missing. It was one of the craziest storms. It's just one of the most memorable storms, in my opinion. Honestly, I think if it wasn't for Wilma, Dorian would probably have taken the cake as one of the best looking Category 5 of North Atlantic history. Let's see what else we had. We had a Lorenzo, which is pretty controversial because people don't think that Lorenzo was a Category 5. In my opinion, I don't think it was a Category 5 just because the structure was just so messy.
Of course, Lorenzo is the perfect storm to argue about because it didn't hit anyone, it didn't affect anyone, it didn't kill anyone.
It killed 19
people. Oh, it did kill 19? Where did it kill 19 people? What?
I think
Okay.
it killed them in the Azores, but it killed 19 people and one indirectly because there was
Okay.
a windstorm that
Okay.
comes out of this as well.
Okay. Well, I'll take that back. It killed only 20 people, but for a Category 5, that is
It's the
sort of low,
tropical
I
cyclone
suppose.
to impact the Azores in recent times.
Well, yeah, the Azores does not really get a lot of hurricanes, does it?
I don't know how it didn't even get anywhere near the Azores.
At that point, it was probably going to really sprung out because it was beginning to transition to extratropical. It was probably really large at that point. And yeah.
Yeah, all the 20 fatalities were from the UK and Ireland.
Oh.
So that's interesting. So yeah, Lorenzo's pretty argued about because, and it's not like you can say, oh, well, it's Category 5, it killed 20 people. Yeah, you can't really say that because all the fatalities happened after it transitioned to extratropical. And then we had Tropical Storm Imelda. Imelda, also, as a lot of Houstonians here call it, the Harvey son.
Harvey daughter. Excuse me.
Daughter.
Excuse me.
Daughter.
Not misgender.
Imelda is the fourth wettest tropical cyclone in history, in U.S. history with 43.15 inches of rain in Jefferson County. And coincidentally, it was also 2 years after Hurricane Harvey hit, where there was 60.5 inches of rain. In Nederland, which is near Beaumont, by the way. So yeah, I mean, such strength. Imelda was the 7th wettest tropical cyclone in U.S. history. But Harvey still takes the cake. At least in the continuous U.S., Harvey takes the cake with 60.58 inches of rain. The previous record was held by Florida. And then Hurricane Lane came in and took that spot. Lane produced 58 inches of rain in Hawaii, but nobody talks about that. So, I don't know. By the way, I just want to say that on the 29th of August, 31 inches of rain fell in Netherlands.
That is a lot.
So there was a 1 3/4 of an inch on the 25th, 3.43 inches on the 26th, 13.36 on the 27th, also on my brother's birthday, 7.97 on the 28th, and then you go from 7.97 to 31 inches in one day. But we're not even anywhere near that, so let's just go back to the summaries. The summaries. Imelda only caused 7 fatalities, which is still a lot, but for a tropical storm. But was Imelda retired? I don't think it was.
I don't know.
No, we're not retired. We're gonna use it again. We're gonna use it. Oh wait, we're using a. Are we using the 2018 list for this season? Hold on. Yeah, we are. Alberta and Barrel. Okay. Then we have 2018, folks. And then, so yeah, 2018 was a relatively average, maybe a little bit above average hurricane season in terms of amounts of tropical storms, hurricane majors. But it's very notable because you had Hurricane Michael and Hurricane Florence. Hurricane Michael was more. Hurricane Michael pretty much decimated the panhandle of Florida. It killed. It caused 74 known fatalities. Florence also took multiple lives as well. Look at Florence. This is Florence at its peak. Florence, I think, had one of the largest eyes recorded in Atlantic history. Other than like Isabel. Isabel had a massive eye. Yeah, so 54 fatalities came out of Hurricane Florence. And that one is also pretty known for having a tornado outbreak as well as a flooding event in Carolinas. So that's, yeah, again, 2018. Also, Michael was the, I think did Michael weekend before it made a Category 5 landfall? No, it didn't.
No, it made the last minute intensification to Category 5. It was that way around. It would I think it was upgraded actually to Category 5 when it made landfall operationally. I think it wasn't reanalyzed to actually made it to Category 5 before that. But, yeah.
Yeah, it became the first Category 5 to make landfalls in the contiguous United States since Hurricane Andrew. And I think there's only, in the contiguous U.S., there's only been like 3 or 4 Category 5 landfalls in the U.S. In the contiguous U.S.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 at this point.
And then
with 5 or 6, which again, keep in mind we only had this few landfalls, only a handful or so Category 5 landfalls in the U.S., and 2 of those happened in the last 6 years. So, what does that mean? I don't know. 30 does not sound good to me. But yeah.
And then we have the infamous 2017 Atlantic hurricane season, also known as the United States' worst nightmare, the Caribbean's worst nightmare, Bermuda's worst nightmare.
Caribbean's worst nightmare, yeah.
Texas' worst nightmare. So yeah, this hurricane season is pretty well known for being the costliest hurricane season on record, I believe. Yeah. 2017 also was a pretty chill year, but then the hurricane season kind of ruined it. So, in terms of numbers as a whole, it was slightly above average with like 3 more named storms than normal. But there was 10 hurricanes and there were 6 major hurricanes. So yeah, that aspect ratio is insane. Like here at DisasterCentral, like in our forecast video, we called for, I think, 3 to 5 major hurricanes with 25 named storms, 20 to 25 named storms. This hurricane season, 2017, only had 17 named storms, and we saw 6 major hurricanes. And it's second place behind 1933 in terms of accumulated cyclone energy. So here's the summary. Irma was the most intense with a pressure of 914 millibars and winds of 180 miles per hour. Hurricane Maria is the deadliest, second most intense impact, and second costliest tropical cyclone to have made landfall anywhere near the Caribbean. And then we had Hurricane Harvey, which is the costliest tropical cyclone in U.S. history, tied with Hurricane Irma, as well as being the result of the 2017 Arkema plant explosion in Tropics, Texas. So there was a refinery that blew up as a result of Hurricane Harvey. So just start over the seasonal recap. Hurricane Franklin made landfall. Pretty much was a hurricane. I think weekend before it made landfall in Mexico during the tropical storm, because it, to be honest, it was one of the ugliest hurricanes I've personally ever seen. Before Barry. Then we had Hurricane Gert. Hurricane Gert pretty much did nothing. There was 3 indirect fatalities from rip currents, and there was flooding reported in the UK. Hurricane Harvey was catastrophic in Texas. Wettest, costliest, deadliest. I don't know what else to describe it. It was some of the worst humanitarian disasters in Texas history. It caused the most evacuations out of any natural disaster, which actually, if they did include man-made disasters, it would have surpassed the evacuations of Dunkirk. It was one of the most costliest evacuation processes and rescue operations in history. That was related to tropical cyclone. So, it killed. So Hurricane Harvey killed 108 people, 107 in the United States. A woman in Guyana died because her house collapsed, which is terrible. That's unfortunate. So there was 36 fatalities in Harris County alone from the flooding. All but 3 of those 36 fatalities were from flooding. And then we had Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma will go down as one of the greatest looking Category 5s, and one of the most erratic looking paths in history, and like one of the most erratic paths you'll see in the modern age. Pretty much went up and down, to the side, and then pretty much slowed down, went up fast, slowed down. Weekend intensified, and then intensified, stayed at Category 5 for like 6 days. Which is absolutely insane. So Irma, I believe, killed, 200 people? 134.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 134, more than Hurricane Harvey. It made landfall in they had 8 different landfalls. Cape Verde, Leeward Islands, Barbuda, Saint Bartholomew, Anguilla, Saint Martin, the Virgin Islands, Cuba, and Florida. And it had one of the most. It had the 3rd strongest landfall in tropical storm in history. It was 1,700 miles per hour. So I would feel terrible. And then this is also the same storm where this infamous image is at, where Katia and Jose is at. By the way, we'll get into Jose later because there's a whole disagreement with that intensity too, because it did nothing either. By the way, this picture showed a record-breaking 3 hurricanes simultaneously, which was not seen since 2010. And we'll get to the analogs in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I think I have updated analogs for how this could possibly look like. So the Caribbean pretty much was catastrophically destroyed. There's no other word to put it. But interestingly enough, almost 96 fatalities came from the United States, where it made a weaker landfall than Anguilla, the Bahamas, Barbados, Cuba. So that's pretty interesting. This is some satellite view of it being catastrophically intensified. pretty much entered a. This around the time where it upgraded to a Category 5 because it just looked too good.
Yeah.
All right, and then we had Jose, which is argued because it has a peak intensity of 155 miles per hour. So I saw a video, just unrelated, but this is related to the hurricane. I saw a video where like it was an animation, and they had Hurricane Jose with winds of 175 miles per hour. Personally, I don't know. Like I haven't done enough research to like ultimately come up with an opinion. I don't think this was a Category 5 because I mean it could have been a Category 5, but I don't think this was a Category 5 because while the structure looked good and all, it had a relatively short peak of 155 miles per hour before it entered continuous high wall replacement cycles, strength, high wall replacement cycle, strength, high wall replacement cycle, strength. So I can't tell. Like that was one of the things with Jose. It did kill one person, but
I will say you can see in that satellite I mentioned there, you can see that it's of Jose. You can see that its eye. It was so. You can look at the satellite, his eye was really coming.
in possibly history. This is its track. This was it. This was its track. It started north and then it went to the southeast and then went to the southwest. So
Yeah.
it made a less than turn. Look at one of them signs from math.
Yeah. Real. But yeah, very, very, very weird track.
It peaked at winds of 100, and also it intensified while going south. It intensified while having this path, so it peaked at winds of 105 miles per hour before it ultimately died from high wall replacement cycles because again this thing just wasn't gonna live. There was 65 mudslides in the city of Chapala, or Xalapa, and it killed 3 people. But again, this one isn't talked about as much because it's overshadowed by literally every other major hurricane. Oh, and then Hurricane Lee happened, which for some reason decided pretty much. So I watched this video again. This is unrelated, but I watched this video where they had Lee 1 and then Lee 2. So I don't necessarily, and again, this also had a pretty erratic and weird path. It made a loop-de-loop. It made a loop. It failed on that, so then it just moved. And then it peaked. It peaked at such a high altitude, or
High latitude. Latitude.
And then, oh my God, Maria. Oh.
Yeah, Maria was a double whammy for Puerto Rico. It was the terrible thing. It was Puerto Rico had already been hit by Irma, and then Maria came and just made it so much worse.
Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
Maria was absolutely massive. It was massive. This is a pretty beautiful image, by the way, but it was massive. Like, I can't put into words how massive the storm was. It was massive, and I think it made landfall in St. Kitts and Nevis. No, it hit the Turks and Caicos Islands. Yeah. And then it weakened, and then it made landfall all the way. It strengthened all the way until Puerto Rico. And then there was a whole political controversy because originally it was reported there was 65 fatalities.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it
then
out
it
there
was
someone screenshotted a group chat because for whatever reason these governments have WhatsApp group chats and thought they weren't gonna get screenshotted by pretty much having a whole scandal. So apart from the fact that $96 billion in damages happened in Puerto Rico alone, it killed 3,000 people.
Yep. And I want to say, in a way, Puerto Rico almost was like lucky because
it did have an eyewall replacement second last minute, as you can see in the track, a week into Category 4. But the problem was that it didn't really matter because, well, it was so very bad, and I think most of the damage probably came from the flooding anyway, from it being such a large. So all the rain flooding usually has the most fatalities, and was damaged trouble centers anyway. So, but I like to think that it could have been just this tiny bit worse had it made a Category 5 landfall.
Honestly, I
but
think
probably not make that much of a
I
difference.
think if this storm didn't weaken, like imagine if this storm just continued intensifying and intensifying and intensifying until landfall.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine
that's a-
it missed that landfall and St. Kitts and Nevis, and then just started intensifying. Like it could have been.
Yeah, I mean,
it could have been talking 175 mile per hour, but it didn't.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there is some truth to it that you tend to have. It's one of the things that does sound untrue, but it is very much true. When you have a storm that is intensifying until landfall, it tends to be worse than one that is weakening because it just has all that momentum on its side. And many people, many storm chasers, I know Josh Morgan says almost every time this happens, and lots of people have reported this, so who were there in person, have experience with these storms, that it just is worse. It just is when they sort of have that momentum on their side, when they're strengthening.
Oh my god. Alright folks, here comes 2016. Not notable for much, except two named storms, Odo and Matthew. Matthew was catastrophic in the fact that it pretty much killed 586 people, and most of them were in Haiti.
Yep.
And then you had Odo, which made landfall in Central America, killed 23. Now, to be honest, I don't know why Odo was replaced. Like, to be honest, it did nowhere near as much damage as some other tropical storms did, or hurricanes did. But Otto was replaced with Owen, and then Matthew was replaced with Martin. Matthew, I think, personally, was a big jump scare for all Floridians, because it was this close to making landfalls at Florida. And it was so close, in fact, that there was major hurricane force winds in some of the Florida coastlines. So, yeah, that's 2016. 2015, pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie. I think you had Joaquin, which killed, Joaquin, not notable. Danny did pretty much nothing. Yeah, Danny did nothing, and then as soon as it was going to reach into land, it pretty much entered an eyewall. Cycle couldn't, and then it got sheared out. Fred, absolutely nothing. Grace, Henri, nothing. 9, Tropical Depression 9, nothing. Ida, before it got retired, nothing. Joaquin is the big man of the story. Again, one of the most erratic tracks you'll see in the modern age. It went south, instead of category 4, south, and then it turned to the northeast, or northwest, and then started curving over to the northwest, went north, went directly to the east, sped up like at peak 28 miles per hour, went south, made landfall into Portugal, went south, and then it curved up before it actually died. Joaquin, I think, killed like a majority of those people. A majority of the fatalities for 2015. Only 34. Okay. What the heck? Was there any retirees? Joaquin was retired, but... Erica! Oh! Erica! Yeah, I don't know much about this storm. Killed 35. Tropical storm.
Yeah, wow. Well, those rainmakers, yeah, probably, yeah. All I remember, it had a lot of rain coming down. Yeah, you get these, occasionally, you have these tropical storms that aren't really that strong, but they dump a lot of rain. I remember there was this tropical depression, I think, in the Westpac. I want to say it was 2022, and like killed, like, dozens, I think it killed over 100 people. And I was like, how the hell did this happen? But it's just like, just dumped a lot of rain.
2014, which was below average on everything except hurricanes and major hurricanes. So this was like a miniature 2017 version. So while it had 8 named storms, out of those 8, 6 became hurricanes and 2 became majors. There was only 21 fatalities because there was no U.S. landfall.
No, really any major. Oh, actually, I guess
Actually, I think
it's one category, one landfall in the. Oh yeah, Arthur. Arthur is another one of those weird tracks where it just like hugged the coast. It basically I almost have a feeling it thought it was Sandy or something. I don't know, but.
Arthur is the only storm to have made landfall during Independence Day. And it only killed 2, by the way. For this intensity, it killed 2. Arthur looked pretty nice. Arthur was a pretty good looking storm too. I'm just surprised. There was a tornado outbreak with this too as well. I think there was like 3 tornado emergencies from this.
Yeah. That was probably because it says indirect. Wait. Can you look up whether was it the tornadoes actually caused the fatalities? Wait. It says indirect. Oh, it's probably.
What is this Yak Fest? Maybe we'll find out. Oh yeah, tornado. But were they the cause of fatalities? What is this town? Kill Devil Hills?
And it's in the Outer Banks, so how are they? Are there even hills? Probably what they're calling hills isn't even a hill. It's like the Netherlands calling what they have mountains. It's like, okay, actually, I hope no one died there because I'm just dunking on them.
Okay, I can't find out if the fatalities were from.
Oh, this image you showed there actually is kind of off topic here. It kind of reminded me of.
Okay, so one of the fatalities was from. They were both in Canada. A woman died after being struck by a door that was caught by a gust of wind, and in Woodstock, New Brunswick, a man died when.
This oxygen. Okay. Okay.
We're done.
Two kind of unusual deaths, especially the woman being struck by the door. So, another thing to add to your hurricane safety list is watch those damn doors. I suppose. Oh yeah, I was wondering why you want to go.
I despise this season so much. I hate this season so much because it was irrelevant.
For real. 2013, and again, it's getting. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. It's getting ahead of. I'm getting ahead of myself here. But 2013, infamous for how boring was. The thing is, named storms. Like it had 14 named storms. Like that is average, right? That's normal. But then none of them did anything. There were 2 hurricanes, none of which were particularly significant. It's just that.
And the only one to have made landfall in the U.S. was Andrea.
I have a.
And it killed 4. So yeah, 2013 was pretty boring. It killed 56 people? What? Oh, it's Ingrid. Ingrid made landfall in Mexico. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, 32 fatalities. Yeah, it was Ingrid. Okay, so yeah, it was. I mean, relatively, it was pretty boring. The last system dissipated was December 7th. Oh, 2012, infamous for Hurricane Sandy. Michael, Sandy. There was no Category 4s though. It was just all Category 3s. Not much to talk about here. 2011. Oh, I missed the subscriber. Whoever subscribed, thank you guys so much. Thank you for subscribing. I just want to let y'all know we don't do this all the time, by the way. We are serious, but we're just doing a recap because it's the countdown to hurricane season. So, yeah, we'll have more videos coming up. We have more projects coming up during this summer. we have 30 minutes till the end of hurricane season, or to the beginning of hurricane season. And what am I on about? 2011, pretty nothing worthy of discussing. There was a Category 1 that made landfall in the U.S. I think that was maybe Irene. Oh yeah, it was Irene. That was the only notable thing that we had. Irene. Yeah, Irene was pretty notable because it killed 58 people, but a majority of them were in. They were all in the U.S. Okay. So there was 3 in Haiti, 5 in the Dominican Republic, 1 in Canada, and 1 in Puerto Rico. But 48 of them were in the U.S. And it was a Category 1 when it made landfall. I think it was the flooding. It was a big rainmaker. Yeah, but apart from Irene, nothing notable. 2010, let's see. 2010 was relatively, again, above average, but not notable in the U.S. I think there was no U.S. landfalls. Yeah, no U.S. landfalls in 2010. So, I'm not going to talk about that. Oh, well, there was 392 fatalities. It was Igor and Julia that got retired. Earl, I think, got retired too. Wait, no, it didn't. Yeah, Igor and Thomas were retired with Ian and Tobias. So Ian was only had a 12-year lifespan, or a 13-year lifespan. Okay, 2009, not notable at all. It was actually a pretty awful season in general. Very below average. 9 named storms, 3 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes. Bill was pretty strong. Bill was 103 miles per hour. 2008, my favorite hurricane season. Also, 2007 my favorite as well, but 2008's even more my favorite. There was 1,000 fatalities. Most of them was from Gustav. Bertha did nothing. Dolly was also Dolly was close to getting retired. There was 22 fatalities. Dolly was close to retiring if it wasn't for Gustav, which was a Category 4 with winds of 155 miles per hour and a state pressure of 941 millibars. It killed 153 people in Cuba, I think. Yes, Cuba, because there was only 53 fatalities in the U.S. So Gustav, and then Ike, pretty infamous for making a direct landfall in Houston and in Galveston. Pretty erratic track path as well. By the way, a little fun fact, with its conditions, Hurricane Ike could have been easily a Category 4 to Category 5 if it just couldn't. If it got a handle of itself in the Gulf of Mexico, it would have been a Category 4, Category 5. And we wouldn't be talking just 113 fatalities. We likely would have been talking well over 300 to 400 fatalities. But Hurricane Ike is the 8th costliest hurricane in U.S. history, and it was only a Category 2, which shows that it does not take a major hurricane to be costly at all. In fact, it's more costly than Michael and Andrew, and they were Category 5s. So... what else we had? Oh yeah, we had a... Marco, which was the smallest named storm. And it almost got close to Category 5. Or not Category 5, it almost got to Hurricane. Category 5, what do I have about? It almost got to Hurricane status.
Yeah.
Such a small little storm, it literally did nothing. It killed nobody, and it was just trying to be cute. It was just being a really nice guy. My second favorite hurricane season, 2007, because there was 2 Category 5s, Felix and Dean. But
Felix, Hurricane Felix.
You know what's interesting?
Felix is my name.
This season was average had 6 hurricanes and 2 major hurricanes, and those 2 major hurricanes were both Category 5s.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
So Hurricane Dean, 175 miles per hour and a sustained pressure of 905 millibars, 45 fatalities. It made the eighth most intense hurricane landfall on record. And then you got Hurricane Felix, which, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, was pretty.
It's my favorite hurricane because it has my name.
Hurricane Felix, in a matter of in a matter of 9 days. Here's your track. It peaked twice as a Category 5 with winds of 175 miles per hour and steam pressure of 109 millibars. It was 133. Felix was mischievous and a bad boy. Yeah, that was all of 2007, and then 2006, really not known for anything. Below average, coming from a hyperactive 2005. Wilma was something else. Wilma was a beast. This was Wilma at peak intensity, and you can see that small pinhole eye.
Yeah. Wilma almost looked like a typhoon. Like usually there are sort of structures that you can only really see in the Westpac. Like some like the most intense typhoons just look different, and Wilma almost had this look to it of like I don't think it's like that moment. I think it was like I'm pretty sure it was Wilma where it almost had this like buzzsaw kind of shape to it. You only really got in the Westpac, so it was a crazy storm.
Ada had something similar too.
Yeah, but the crazy storm, beautiful structure. Yeah, Ada also had this thing.
Yeah, it had that big band.
Yeah, that's almost like, yeah, it's just like a development pattern you usually only see in the Westpac. And honestly, I don't actually know why that is, but it's just that they usually don't. Atlantic hurricanes usually don't do that. Interestingly,
North, like in general, North Atlantic hurricanes have a wider eye in general. They have a bigger eye in general. Like this is Dennis, Emily, Category 5, the earliest Category 5 in history. It looked like this.
Yeah.
Again, big eye, had more of a northeastern quadrant. Which is typical of most hurricanes. Hurricane Katrina, big eye.
Okay, that was. Yeah.
Rita, which most of its fatalities came from an evacuation. Which came from the evacuation, not the actual hurricane. Again, you can see very well organized, but it doesn't look like a typhoon because that's more of an equally organized system. It's more equally in terms of organization convection. Rita, again, looking very powerful here. But again, it doesn't have that typhoon look. It's very concentrated. It's very concentrated, very equally organized, like on all sides. Again, it's like storms like Wilma that it's massive and it's equally organized, but they have more displacement organizations against the eastern side. Like, look at that big rainfall band.
Yeah.
Beta does not get talked about a lot. It killed like what, 9 people?
Yeah. I mean, I have a crazy season like 2005. It's not. It's very easy to see why something like Beta would be overshadowed, and I guess it was just too Beta to assert itself against.
I thought you're done. 2004. Yeah, regardless of the average, but there was so many major hurricanes, including Ivan, Francis, Jean. Florida, I'm telling you, Florida got absolutely destroyed. 3 hurricane or major hurricane impact. 4 major hurricane impact in Florida, and in all different directions too. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. This looks like a typhoon. This has like a typhoon type of look. Okay, like the only difference is like the big eye, but it has that massive iconic like inflow burst. In 2003, not super notable, not gonna lie. Isabel had a massive eye.
Yeah. Look at that.
Pretty convective thunderstorm. This is pretty.
Yeah.
Look at its massive eye.
Yeah, and that one almost has sort of annular structure. It's not really any dominant remains, and so you just have this like shield of cirrus that's just fanned out into all sides. Actually, the first thing that I noticed is that cirrus like fanning out in all directions. So probably at that point had radial outflow a lot, so all of the air. And outflow is important because all the air, the hurricane suction needs to go out somewhere. So think about it as like breathing, and if you don't breathe out, well, you're gonna die.
Typhoon Noru. And then I don't think Typhoon Surage had much annular characteristics. It had an annular eye, but it wasn't an annular shape. Look, Valley image of hurricane Isabel 2003 displaying a large circular symmetric eye and symmetrical storm shape, which are characteristics of an annular tropical cyclone. Isabel is also exhibiting a pinwheel eye, a rare feature found in some annular cyclones. Like, it had a perfect eye.
Yeah.
I think it only peaked at 175 though. No, 165. Lily! Hurricane Lily was the second costliest, deadliest, and strongest hurricane of 2002. And notice how July, there was no storm that formed in June, but August and September were filled to the brink. Isidore also got retired. Look at that shape. Look at that shape. Lily and Isidore got retired, and they were replaced with Ike and Laura, and Ike got retired literally the next time they used it, and Laura got retired in 2020. And 2001, not notable at all. Yeah, nothing notable. 2000. Notable. Oh yeah, Keith, but it did nothing. Alright, that's enough. We have 15 minutes, or 13 minutes until... the countdown of hurricane season begins. Or 3 minutes until the last 7 minutes. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get some food that my parents bought without letting me know. So, yeah, chat, I'll be right back. Felix, you can yap on whatever you want to yap about.
Okay, I don't know. What do you want to yap about? I mean, I could. Actually, I want to get a bit ahead of myself. I'm gonna say something that I thought, and that is that what I'm thinking. That is, if you were to ask me what I think this season is gonna look like,
probably say will most likely be a cross between like 2007 and like 2010. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. And this is a sort of a gut feeling that I have, but those two seasons are also good analogs for this year. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself here. As I said, Atlantic probably gonna be above active. If this is not an above average season, it's not a very active season. As I said in the prediction video, I think there is no point in forecasting this stuff anymore. I mean, all the agencies have above average, well, not hyperactive forecasts. I mean, freaking University of Pennsylvania with their UPenn, UPenn with their, what was it, like over 30 named storms? Like, I don't know what Arwini made that forecast, but it's just, yeah, all the things point to this season being absolutely the possibly one of the worst on record, at least in terms of storm number. Just makes it ever so more important to have a hurricane plan in place, to know what you're gonna do if you are going to be placed on a hurricane warning. Again, most people, especially contiguous United States, are probably not going to get a hurricane warning this year, even with a very active season. But if you're one of those unfortunate people, then you need to know what you need to do in order to stay safe.
Now have 9 minutes till hurricane season begins.
T minus 9 minutes. T minus 9 minutes.
All my food is cold. My food got here like an hour ago, but I was here with y'all. So.
Cooked.
I'm gonna mute myself while I take bites, and I'll be on the Discord. So maybe you'll hear through Mike's or through Felix's, whatever he has. But I'll be right back. I'll come back in 5 minutes, or like in 4 minutes.
Damn. Anyway, that was what I was gonna say, is that if you, and again, I mean, this is like common safety tip. Safety tip number one: if you're gonna be placed under a mandatory evacuation order, or any evacuation order, an evacuation advisory, if any authority tells you to evacuate, freaking do evacuate. Don't be one of those people who's like, oh, I've written out 4 hurricanes already, this one is not gonna be any worse, when, I don't know, the 4 hurricanes I wrote out were all category 1s, and this thing is forced to be a category 5, and you're like, it's not that bad. Don't be one of those people, because, and it sounds condescending the way I'm saying this, but like, it's your life. Like, don't take such like stupid chances of your own life. It's not my life. Like, at the end of the day, it's the same thing I always say when there's a trigger warning. Like, don't just, like, it's really just not worth it to not take this stuff seriously and not go to shelter or not evacuate because at the end of the day, yeah, it's a nuisance, and it feels awful leaving your house behind, and like, no, your stuff is probably gonna get destroyed, but there's nothing really you could do if you stayed there. All you can do is just like board up your windows. Usually with the way forecasts are easy, you have enough lead time to board up your windows. As a good thing, now the hurricane season has still not begun, one thing that you could do is go to Home Depot. If you don't have the boards lying around, if you're anywhere in the Caribbean, United States, that area, go buy some boards, go try to acquire some sandbags. Those are good things to have around if you live in these parts. In general, like if you're not going to need them this season, probably going to need them either next season or the season after, or maybe you only need them 5 seasons from now. But at some point in the not so distant future, you're probably going to need them, and you're going to be glad you have them. So those are just things, the small things, right? It's one trip to Home Depot. Maybe you just need to go, or whatever your like store is in your country, and maybe you just have to go there anyway to buy stuff. I don't know, just like a few boards or whatever, and just a general hurricane plan. I'm not an expert in this actual version. There's many great resources out there from NOAA and other agencies that you can access. And then, yeah, just good practice to have these things around. And again, this is like another common tip. I think they always reiterate this, but I suppose people don't listen. Do not use your generators indoors.
T-minus 5 minutes.
Because then just I don't know. It's just the stupidest way to die in a tropical cyclone is to choke to death because you fill your own house up with CO2 from the freaking generator. And yeah, but those are just things that honestly the most important hurricane safety that I have is to evacuate when you're told to evacuate. That is probably the most important thing. Yeah. So David just told me, this is very true. David just told me that. I'm gonna rephrase here what he said. Basically, the gist of what he said, what he told me to tell you guys is that your stuff can be replaced, right? Your life cannot be replaced, or the life of family members or whatever. If you don't evacuate, your family members probably don't too. And your life, their lives, they can't be replaced. Stuff can't be replaced. Your house, build a new house. You can buy a new TV. You can buy a new car. You can't buy a new wife. I mean, you can, but that's you theoretically can, but you shouldn't, because one, it's morally wrong, and second, you can't buy love. Maybe you can buy a wife, but you can't buy love. So. No, I don't want to talk about that. This is not the time, place, and manner to talk about my love. Anyway. Doesn't everybody love someone? Also, I love how Mike is doing his traditional going to eat dinner and then being like gone for like 2 hours. He basically joined was here for the beginning of the live stream and then just went to eat and then just did not return. So that's lovely. So it's just the two of us, me and Dave. And now it's, I think it's like 1.5 minutes, I believe, until hurricane season. So, do we actually have a countdown graphic that we can put up? Like, is it good? They have a timer. Maybe something to do for next year, like a goofy animation for like the final 10 seconds where it's like the numbers like pop up big on the screen and there's like some animation there. But like, you know what I mean, like it's 10 and there's like sparks flying around, 9 and some other weird effect, and 8 and then yeah. Like, or like they do on like the television when the new year is about to start, and they do. I don't know. We should have one of those balls to drop it down. Yeah, I don't know. Just a thing to consider for next season's countdown stream. Now it's 20 seconds.
T-minus 20, folks. We're back. I had to stop
Now
midway because...
Now it's 15. 15.
10,
9, 8,
7,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Why are we so happy? Anyway, it's hurricane season.
Alright.
We're so happy. We are so happy because we love tracking hurricanes when they're like Sam. Did Sam hit Bermuda and was bad there? I don't know.
They
But
just went over. It was a fish storm.
we like tracking hurricanes when they're just beautiful and stay over land, which unfortunately, as I said earlier, I don't think this season is gonna be. I mean, this season's probably gonna have one of those, as we say, fish storms. And I got to hope that's gonna be our only Category 5, because then I can glaze all over that structure and be like, oh my god, look, guys, it's so perfect.
On those forecast live streams, automated live streams on the chat. Look, guys, look at this structure. It's so beautiful. All right, so this is the part where I have to turn on my thinking cap on and discuss with you guys our predictions for the 2024 Atlantic, Eastern Pacific, and Western Pacific hurricane seasons. So originally we were supposed to do a first video on April 15th, 2023, but school life got in the way, so I couldn't do it. So I just want to let you know the predictions for April looked something along the lines of 15 to 17 named storms, 6 to 9 major hurricanes, and 1 to 4 major hurricanes. Obviously, these predictions have been upticked significantly with now the new look looking like this. DisasterCentral now expects 20 to 25 named storms, 8 to 16 hurricanes, and 5 to 8 major hurricanes. We are expecting we have a 90% chance of a above average hurricane season, with a 5% chance of a average and a 5% chance of a below average hurricane season. Our ACE predictions, we expect the accumulated cyclone energy to be anywhere from 150 to 205. Now overall, for predictions, for landfall predictions, to base some of the analogs, we expect a combination, more likely to see something along the lines of 2007, mixed with either 2010 or 2017.
Yeah. That's why I explained. Actually, we should go recap some of the stuff from the video that I made. As I said in the video, if we look, there are a few ways to look at this. I mean, just look at the analogs for the seasonal temperature analysis from the past 30 days. Top 5 analogs are 2010, 1970, 2013, 1975, and 1970.
and actually no, 1975 and 2007. Yeah, that way around. And you will notice that this is sort of a hodgepodge. You have, if you know your hurricane methodology, you have like 2010, which was very much above average with 19 named storms, 12 hurricanes and 5 major hurricanes, and you had 1970, which was pretty average, like 14, 7, and 2, which is pretty average. But you also have in there 2013, which was, as I said earlier, one of them was infamously boring on record. However, as I also said in my video, if you look at actually the way that Enzo plays out,
shaping up to be, it's very different. 2013 and 20,
yeah,
and how the season's looking like it looks very different. So
yeah, because as you were probably aware, last year we had a very strong El Nino, which we're now transitioning away from into a La Nina, and 2013 was really nothing like that. It was like cold neutral, which cold neutral just means like El Nino is when the equatorial Pacific waters are colder than normal, but there's a certain threshold that needs to be reached before we talking about La Nina. And cold neutral basically means it's just colder than normal, but it's like not La Nina.
And I mean,
so it's just sort of nothing.
Not just that, but like overall, 2013 just didn't present enough waves. There wasn't much activity happening in Africa as well. So that is looking up very differently right now. As you can, as if you look at satellite right now, there's a big tons of tropical waves already beginning to move out, and they're not going to form, but that's already a sign of what the future is looking like. So our top 5 analogs are 2007 with a 0.41% chance, or like a 41% chance, and 2010 with a 0.25, 2017 with a point. Oh, let me do the math. So 2007 was a 0.41%, 2010 was a 0.25%, and 2017 was a 21%. Our next few analogs, 2005, 6%. Oh my god, I screwed up my calculation.
What are you even calculating right now?
Percentage totals. Okay. So our top 5 analogs, 2010, 2007, 2017, 2005, and lastly, 2004.
What, 2005?
Yeah.
Wait, I know in terms of what?
For tracks.
Oh.
In terms of named storms, our top 2 analogs are going to be 2010 and 2007, with 2017 being in 3rd place, but that percentage is very low. But overall, we're expecting generally a hyperactive, above average to hyperactive hurricane season.
Yeah.
And we're looking
and
at
again,
potentially multiple costly storms and multiple landfalling hurricanes, which is not what we wanted to hear, but...
yeah, and also, I want to say that if you look at the bottom thing, which is the what I just saw was the Caesar's temperature anomaly analysis. The bottom one is the Caesar's temperature forecast for this year, which I think is much more representative, like an analog space of this is much more representative of what we're looking at here. And all of those were, with, I think there was one exception in there, all of those were above average. Yeah, all of those except 1999 were above or near average. 1999, while only having 12 named storms, had 5 major hurricanes. So honestly, even though the total storm number was below average, I'm still considering 1999 to be an above average season just because it made up for it with having so many majors in that year. And just keep in mind, if those 5 are analogs, the way it's looked lately is that hurricane seasons have become, on average, more and more active. So it's not unreasonable to say that this probably could be like a worse version of those 5 seasons combined.
Yeah.
And as also in the video, there are also similarities in terms of how the atmosphere looks right now to other seasons, some of which David just already mentioned with the analogs that he calculated, which are seasons like 2005
No,
or
2020.
2020 was on less.
No, 2005 was 2020 wasn't there.
Yeah, 2020 wasn't there.
The analogs were 2010, 2007, 2017, 2005, and 1999.
Yeah, and this is just the first set of analogs I mentioned in my video, which was, I think it was, and again, all credits to Dylan Jervala on Twitter. He was the one who compiled this list. It was 1878, I think, 1933, 1942, 1995 was one of them. There was one that I don't quite remember what was anymore. Then it was 2005, 2010, and 2005, 2017, 2020, something like that. And again, all of those were above average, except for I think 1942 is the one that was not above average. I'm not counting 1878 because that one only had 12 name storms, but as I said in the video, that one was...
Pac-Man's army, we're using the Greenwich Standard Time.
Yeah,
Because
which is also...
Because I'm not trying to get my European people to leave and then me just doing this solo for like 3.5 hours. Also, like as I said earlier, it is the hurricane season starts in Greenwich Mean Time. Yeah, so if we did this by CDT, we would basically be wrong. Yeah. For the Eastern Pacific,
because again, it starts at the Greenwich Mean Time, because again, it's not the NHC that decides when hurricane season starts. If they were the ones to decide, it probably would start local time. But again, it's the people at the UN that decided this. So
for the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, we are expecting, DisasterCentral is expecting 18 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes.
You mean the Pacific?
The Eastern Pacific, yes, Eastern Pacific. We're expecting 18 storms, 9 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. We're expecting an overall accumulated cyclone energy to be anywhere between 100 and 175, with more probabilistical reasoning showing anywhere with a mean of 138.225. So we're talking a pretty average hurricane season in terms of the Pacific. However, there's strong suggestions that say that this could be very below average in terms of hurricanes and major hurricanes. So analogs include, again, 2017, 1997, 1974, 1981, and 2002. The overall probabilistics of landfall, we expect at least 2 to 4 storms make landfall in Mexico. This is a good thing that you bring this map up, because this map, I want to talk about this map, but I forgot. You can see right there, basically the area where like a Yoda hit in 2020, that one is kind of screwed. There's this broad corridor of probabilities going from that area on the Nicaragua-Guatemala border into the Bay of... David, you pronounce this. I don't know how to pronounce this. Okay, yeah. And again, I want to know if this goes into, like, Texas is also includes remnants. And also this is what we brought up 2017 as a sort of what it could be a blend of, because you have this other pretty significant anomaly. The red colors, again, are where in the... and also the sea temperature forecast, there was more cyclone activity than normal. And again, it's their Lesser Antilles. I think that's the Windward Islands. I always get those ones wrong. The Windward Islands, yes.
Yeah, into Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay, so that's the one.
And then also near Bahamas. So we kind of have also the area where Dorian had also been favored. And then That's the one David mentioned with why we expect the landfalls of Mexico is because it just tended to be in those years closer to the coast than normal. As you see, there's a lot of blow sort of out of the ocean, and then red closer to the coast. So I would say it's not unreasonable to expect this season to have not very many storms in the Eastern Pacific, maybe, but they could be closer to land if they do form, and be hopefully relieving some of the drought. I know in the last few years there has not been a lot of rainfall on those parts because we have a few Mexican friends who keep complaining about there not being a lot of rainfall there at.
Yeah,
so hopefully those storms
going on that's been going on for the last few decades.
So hopefully those storms that form closer to land are not going to be too strong and just I don't know, bring a bit of drought relief. See the positives here.
So yes, in terms of probabilistic for the Eastern Pacific, we're looking at a 50% chance of an average hurricane season, and a 25% chance, no, not 45%, 35% chance for below average hurricane season, and a 15% chance for above average hurricane season. Overall probabilistic reasoning, El Nino transition, meaning El Nino transition and cooling temperatures would be a limiting factor for intensifying hurricanes. As well as the great potential and possibility for wind shear to move drastically towards the east or west. As a result, limiting factors of intensification and formation of these thunderstorms. Overall, in terms of the Central Pacific, on average they get 4 to 5, including Eastern Pacific crossovers per year. We expect 1 to 2 named storms for that season, with the overall probabilistic reasoning being that wind shear will be a very big killer for the Central Pacific. I mean, like, yet again, Hawaii, you won't get Hone.
Although I will say there was a bit of a probability anomaly south of Hawaii in that forecast. So maybe, just maybe. I mean, there's a pool there where the sea surface would probably be
average to below average.
Yeah, but the noise is going to be just average, so we will see what happens.
So for the Western Pacific, our April 15th forecast looks like this. We expected anywhere from 22 to 31 named storms. 11 to 16 typhoons and 2 to 5 major typhoons, and then 1 to 2 super typhoons. Our forecasts have shifted now, with now expecting more of a closer range, 25 to 27 named storms, 9 to 14 typhoons, and 2 to 7 major typhoons, with 1 super typhoon looking possible. Again, we expect a 8th consecutive year of below average activity. Overall probabilistic reasoning, cooling temperatures, and again wind shear with below average monsoonal activity expected will inhibit tropical storms and typhoons to form or intensify quickly. However, we expect a brief period between July and August of typhoons that could intensify to super typhoons. We expect a second window, November and October, to be the second peak of typhoons, and more likely, could see a year where we see backlogging and more activity after the peak. And by the way, for the Atlantic, I forgot to say the probabilistic reasoning. For the Atlantic, overall warming sea surface temperatures near record and deepening ocean heat content is now going to be a very good factor for storms to intensify or possibly rapidly intensify depending on the day. We expect 3 peaks, 1 in late July to early August, 2 in September, and three between the third week of October and the second week of November. We expect more activity to be backlogged as a result of a strong trough that is forming, that has been there for the next strong Bermuda trough that has been there for the last that is expected to be there for the next couple of weeks. With a little opening happening in July, we could expect 1 to 2 named storms in June, and anywhere from 3 to 7 for the next following month. July we expect 2 to 3. August we expect 4 to 5. September we expect 6 to 7. October we expect 6, and November we expect 5. We also expect a potential December storm that could hold out till January, with again record-breaking sea surface temperatures with deep ocean heat layer content, as well as more likely than not seeing less shear and an increased tropical waves from the African coasts. Landfalls, we expect more destructive landfalls to be happening, so similar analogs would be 2017, 2005, 2020, 2008, and 2004 for landfalls and destructive landfalls. I already said the cumulocircular energy. For the Western Pacific, we expect more of a weaker but yet more landfalls forming in the Philippines. We would expect if a super typhoon is to hit the Philippines, we expect it to be a weaker side of typhoon. However, we can't confirm this because the science is not far enough to say this, so we expect a super typhoon that could either go into the Philippines or just be a fish storm. And finally, for the Northern Indian, our original predictions were 0 to 6 named storms, 0 to 3 cyclones, and 0 major cyclones, or 0 major cyclone. Remember, this year now we expect 4 named storms in the Indian coast, 2 cyclones, and 0 major cyclones. Probabilistic reasoning, again, weaker monsoon season will be inhibiting factors that could cause less storms to develop from the monsoon season. We expect lack of sea surface temperatures to cool off, and we expect, as a result, increased wind shear that will kill off storms and prevent intensification. Well, we expect, by the way, for the ACE in the Western Pacific, we expect anywhere from 125 to 175, with overall inhibitions showing an average of 162.85, which means that we could see multiple strong typhoons, but however could be longer lasting, rather than multiple various. For the Northern Atlantic, again, we said that the ACE could look anywhere from 150 to 205 with an average score of 180.842. However, this could be off, and more research should be done for the July 20th final forecast predictions.
Yeah, I want to mention that for the Atlantic Ocean, that's a good point to mention this. I showed this graph in my prediction video, but the ECMWF does forecasts for every season since 1988, and this season forecast was the most insane I've ever put out. Like twice the normalized ACE for the last accumulated cyclone energy for the last 10 years, which I calculated would put it in a ballpark of about 220 points or thereabout, which would put it in the very, very upper echelon of seasons. And again, this is the highest forecast that model has ever made. So I got absolutely crazy. And usually those model forecasts, I believe, sometimes they do really good, sometimes they don't. But it's just one of the things that makes you look up and listen when you have a prediction that is the most bonkers ever by such a...
By the way, I would like to say that this is storing all these predictions, like this simulation also runs for Disaster Central. Disaster Central here at our operations, or at least me personally, we have a database of all seasons for the last 20 seasons and how we would have expected them to play out. So we would have an April 15th and then a May 31st and then an August 20th or July 20th update. This is the most aggressive May 31st prediction that has ever been made on the database. This is more aggressive than 2020. This is more aggressive than 2005. 2005 we expected an ace of 101. With inhibiting factors that obviously didn't prove out to be working. So yeah, so we expect a very above average hurricane season for the North Atlantic. Overall key terms, we expect multiple destructive we expect multiple destructive landfalls to be made, or if not multiple destructive landfalls, various tropical storm or hurricane landfalls to happen. Primarily we give a 60 or a moderate chance in the Caribbean and into the western Gulf of Mexico. However, these can change really quick. We expect overall the areas of hotspots that could see hurricanes or tropical storm conditions. We expect the top five cities to expect in the United States that could expect tropical storm impact. Miami, Florida, with a 66% chance of seeing some type of tropical storm force wind conditions. Number one. Number two being Tampa with a 55% chance. Number three being Houston, Texas with a 47.8% chance. Number four being Corpus Christi with a 41% chance. And number five being Tallahassee, Florida with a 39% chance of tropical storm conditions anywhere with a 50-mile radius. Overall, this has been Disaster Central's predictions. Felix, your overall thoughts on those predictions that I came to the conclusion to?
My thoughts are, you clearly spent a lot of thought on that, and honestly, I don't really disagree with. And yeah, I can only reiterate what I said at the end of my video, which is that this season is, like you said, 2005 was not expected to be that bad. I don't know, maybe this year we're gonna go wrong the other way, I don't know, but it's just like there's nothing really that makes me look and go, yeah, this season's not gonna be that bad. There's a one thing that one person is pointing out, I sort of can see is happening, is that they said that with so many lows coming down, they don't really see, like over the Atlantic, they don't really see the Caribbean storm track materializing. And God, I hope they're right. But I think what is happening there is we're just seeing, we are still under the influence of El Nino. That is how it's going, and
yeah, I mean,
that's how it's going right now. But
yeah, right
that's
now,
not going to be the case anymore in a few months.
I generally disagree with that statement. That person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very possible that we could see inhibiting factors in the Caribbean. However, we're transitioning to La Nina. We should be in a La Nina by August. Or July. So really, I don't see much stopping it. Unfortunately, I pray to God I'm wrong. But I'm seeing multiple strong, intense landfalls being made in the Caribbean, and not just out of hobby. It's not because I want to see this. Nobody wants to see this, but it's more. Yeah. The more reasoning is because this, as me and Felix in his video, and how I said it at the beginning of the video, we discussed our original predictions. If there has ever been a season that could be so productive and it could be so destructive, it is this season. This season will be the season where storms get to do whatever they want and have the possibility to do whatever they want. The only inhibiting factor that I do see is in the main development region, and that's just too much competition with tropical waves. I really do think that could be a possible failure mode early on into the season. But again, as I said in that probabilistic reasoning, I see with confidence that overall this is going to be a season that's very backlogged, and it could be one of those seasons where we see so much activity after September. So where they, hopefully last minute they do fail, but I really don't see why it would fail. Well, it is 7:30 p.m. Felix, any final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I keep starting us with like, be really careful this season. And as David said, this could be a backlog season, so don't be like, oh yeah, it's already July, nothing really happened, nothing will happen, yada yada yada. Like, don't let your guard down if nothing is happening early in the season. It could all just come down to that peak, August, September, October, maybe even just like starting on like August 15th, and it's just like going on and on and on.
Our
and into
for a backlog season right now is 47%. So
and going into November and even December, I mean, it could very well be one of those seasons that, like 2005, goes well, and 2020 I think also went into December, just goes well into those later months. Yeah.
So that has been our hurricane countdown and our official May 31st predictions for the Atlantic hurricane season. My name is David Vela. You're free to go, Felix. I want to thank Felix, of course, for being here. I just do want to say that this is not all we do. Disaster Central here. We plan on having big projects in the future. We cover earthquakes, we cover severe weather, international severe weather as well, Germany as well, European, Asian. We cover all hurricanes and cyclones. We do all earthquakes that are above a certain magnitude or certain priority. We do volcanoes, we do meteors, and we do documentaries and storm recaps. If you like those type of stuff, I recommend you subscribe to the channel. But hey, that's up to you. That's up to you guys. But yeah, that has been 2024 prediction season. Yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye bye.